This will collapse society. 18 reasons Gen Z demands pay without working. This will collapse society. I've said it plenty of times that Gen Zers are some bad little muffins. Bad little muffins. Well, now these bad little muffins are demanding pay without actually having to work, which is essentially communism. Stay to the end of the video to understand why Gen Zers are demanding pay without working and the serious implications that it will have upon society. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the article. So, as you guys can see, this is an article that just came out, 18 reasons Gen Z demands pay without working. These are a bunch of little communists. Generation Z has grown up very different from millennials and baby boomers. I just love how they always forget about Gen X, and that's just the way we like it. And they appear to have a unique set of values compared to their predecessors. A combination of growing up with the internet and smartphones and an enhanced sense of self-awareness and empathy has resulted in Gen Z having higher expectations for themselves, others, and work. They're a bunch of bad muffins. Bad muffins. This has contributed to a perception that this generation is reluctant to work, but still expects to be employed and paid well. Here are 18 reasons why Gen Z are perceived as not wanting to work while still expecting to be paid. These are bad people, bro. Universal basic income. Guys, can we say the word losers? All right, losers. Gen Z are big advocates of universal basic income. What they really want is universal high income, which is what Elon has proposed, where people would be receiving so much money they could live off it comfortably. But yeah, Gen Z are big advocates of universal basic income. This is the idea that everyone in society gets a basic monthly income to live off, regardless of their wealth status or employment. This is a very progressive concept that argues each person in society should be given access to a basic amount of money that covers essential needs such as housing, food, and energy costs. Gen Z claims that UBI would allow people to climb out of poverty and engage in meaningful work instead of taking jobs out of financial desperation. The results of something like this, guys, just to make it very clear, would be Gen Z just chilling at home playing video games while everyone else is producing and they're living off us. This is some hardcore communism. This is not socialism. This is some hardcore communism. And if you look at Venezuela, they tried socialism in Venezuela, and now they have a dictator. All right, Maduro. That's it. They can't get him out of office. I forget. I think it was Stalin who said it doesn't matter who actually votes. The only thing matters are the people who count the votes. All right. This is the insanity. All right, and this is how Gen Z is. They're lazy and they want everything handed to them, and they want everyone else to slave away while they get to sit around, play video games, sleep, fart, drink, get drunk, smoke pot, use other substances, you know, uh, play with themselves, and then do it all again the next day. These are bad muffins. These are bad little muffins. Bad batch of muffins that should never have made it out of the oven. And mental health awareness. So, Gen Z that likes to fake mental illness, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that they're not mentally ill. A lot of them are absolutely mentally ill, but a lot of them are also faking mental illnesses. They are saying that they they want to get in touch with their personal side and their feelings. Gen Z have a better understanding of mental health than other generations, and they are more likely to prioritize their mental well-being over their careers. See, this article is total BS. All right, just because they are more mentally ill than other generations doesn't mean that they have a better understanding of mental illness than other generations. While this is a good thing, some employers perceive Gen Z's reluctance to sacrifice their well-being for a job as laziness or poor work ethic. These are bad muffins. Bad muffins. Digital natives. This is the first generation born into the internet age, and since they were toddlers, Gen Z has been playing with mobile phones, watching TV, and interacting with technology. Bunch of iPad kids terrorizing society. This means that this generation is digitally fluent and also digitally dependent, and they expect everything to be done online, which also involves working. This has resulted in Gen Z having expectations of remote work, flexible hours, and provision of company tech equipment. These are some crazy people. What ended up happening is during the events of 2020, where they were all able to stay home, they stayed home, played video games, and earned degrees they should never have gotten. These people can't read. Okay, they don't. They didn't go to. They did not have to use phonics. So, when we were growing up, Gen X was growing up. Some millennials they had phonics, so you learned how to sound it out. Gen Z didn't learn how to read this way. So either when they look at words, either they know the word or they don't. I'm amazed that any of them could even complain on my videos, because a lot of them cannot spell. They can't spell. They can't read. They can't. I mean, they get in front of the class and they start to stutter because they don't know how to pronounce that word. They never learned how to properly pronounce that word. That's the reason why you have all these kids graduating from Harvard, and employers are pissed off because they're like, all these kids graduated from Harvard, but really, like, we have kids that came from community college 20 years ago, and they're still rocking out. And these Harvard kids, I mean, they can't do basic math. They can't do basic math, and their reading comprehension leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, they can't even write they can't even write an email, but expect to make this kind of money. No, we're not going to let them do this. Now we're going to have to keep the boomers in. We have to keep the boomers in the workforce even longer because these kids can't step up. So yeah, this has resulted in Gen Z having expectations of remote work, flexible hours, and provision of company tech equipment. Work-life balance. Gen Z is redefining traditional working patterns, with many rejecting the 9 to 5 model as too restrictive and rigid. Instead, Gen Z expects employers to offer flexible working options that support a balanced lifestyle, which can appear somewhat entitled to employers. Work balance, as in we don't show up for work, we don't actually work, we don't have to do anything, but we're still going to get paid. Bad muffins. Bad muffins. These people are toxic. The fact that Gen Z has grown up as digital natives, just because they grew up with technology, doesn't mean they're very good at it. They can barely use it. Means that they have aspirations of being digital nomads too. You mean influencers? This generation learned from a young age that technology allows you to do anything from anywhere, and many Gen Zs can't understand why they can't do their jobs from a hammock in the Caribbean. A lot of them, what they're doing is when they should be at home working remotely, they're in some place in the rest of the world chilling, and then basically like, yeah, I'll get some work done here and there. They're stealing time. They're not actually working. The events of 2020 reinforced Gen Z's penchant for remote working, and now they are more reluctant than ever to go into the office for work. They never wanted to go in the first place. While Gen Z genuinely loves working from home, traditional employers see their preferences for remote work as a sign of laziness, when in fact most work is just as efficiently done at home, if not more. The problem is a lot of employers have reported that when they have Gen Zers actually in the office, if they are not watching them 24/7, they will do no work. So if you let these bad muffins work from home, they're definitely gonna do no work. These are the same people that disappear partway through the workday. Like they just vanish partway through the workday. All right, and they don't tell anyone. Imagine your doctor deciding that like partway through the examination, he's like, "Man, I have some anxiety, dude. I gotta go play Call of Duty," and he just leaves you in a gown, sitting on that, sitting in the examination room, and he just takes off, and you have Gen Z nurses, and no one comes to get you, and you're sitting there, you're waiting, and eventually you get up and you walk out, and you're like in your gown, and your bum's hanging out, and you're looking around, and the lights are off, and you realize that you were forgotten, you were left behind. All right, they all left. This is Gen Z. Equality, diversity, and inclusion. So DEI, diversity, inclusion, equity. Gen Z's values equality, diversity, and inclusion in the workplace in a big way. This generation fiercely protects fairness and rallies around any kind of stigma or discrimination. These young people prioritize employers whose values are aligned with their own. These people just don't want to work more more than pay, bonuses, or statuses, which they all want regardless, and they will happily decline well-paying jobs in favor of a more ethically motivated employer. That's BS. Total BS, all right? They want large checks for doing nothing. Environmental activism. This generation cares about the planet and they're willing to take action to protect it, whether this means making greener decisions in their personal lives, attending protests, about climate change or seeking employment in with organizations that operate in environmentally ethical ways. Gen Z's career choices are often influenced by a company's grade status more than the wages that they pay. They're totally full of crap. These are modern day hippies, guys. These are the modern day hippies. And in 5 to 10 years, they'll be full blown. All right. They'll be laying around society, stealing and squatting, pooping everywhere. They're already unhygienic. They're going to be they're going to be extremely destitute, very shifty and shady people. They're already very shifty and shady, but it's going to be on a national scale, especially when many of them can no longer live with their parents and bum off their parents. It's going to be an absolute and utter nightmare. All right, right now they're more like this. It's like a pestilence. It's going to be a nightmare in the future. And don't forget about Gen Alpha, because they're coming on. They're going to rock out, boy. They're going to go wild out there because they are so. They have no self control. All right, many of them were raised in fatherless homes, and you're going to be able to tell. I've already said that they're going to be a large prison population. They're coming from fatherless homes and they can't read or write. All right, those two things, 80% of young men in prison came from fatherless homes, and these people, and illiteracy is one of the indicators, statistical indicators of people who will also be incarcerated. So now you have a large generation of people who came from fatherless homes and they can't read or write, bro, they're going to be in prison. They're going to be a large prison population. By the guys, what are the social implications of this? You're going to have Gen Zers who are going to be very destitute. You're going to be very shifty and shady. You're going to have a lot of them who are going to be homeless. You're gonna have a large generation of thieves and squatters. That's the future that we're gonna see with Gen Z. It's gonna be an absolute and utter nightmare because these are some very shifty people. There's some very lazy people who don't want to work. They want everything handed to them, and it's going to have major implications on society, as society is going to have to push back against them. If you're enjoying the content, subscribe to our newsletter for my personal thoughts, insights, and a free copy of my ebook, The Blueprint for Escaping the Rat Race. Click the link in the description to get your free copy. What do you guys think regarding all of this? This will collapse society. What's going on with Gen Z? They don't want to work. They want money they want free money without having to work for it. They want their housing provided, their food provided, their, clothing, everything that they need provided. And then they've said that maybe, just maybe, they'll go and look for work after they give it all of that, so they can do meaningful work. Yeah, guys, what do you think regarding all of this? And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, man, walking away. And cheers.